ಈಗ ಓಕೆ. Good morning to one and all. Myself, Dr. Naveen GB, Assistant Professor, Department of Commerce, KSYU, Mysore. From the past 12 years, I'm working in a KSYU. Today, we were discussing about the your subject, that is industrial relations. As we know about this, industrial relations is the most important thing. In industrial relations, we should go through by our syllabus. As the syllabus like this, that is, we have three blocks in the industrial relations. In the first block, we are studied about the philosophy of industrial relations, the concept, the scope, and coverage strategies and approaches of the industrial relations in the first unit. And the second unit related to industrial relations, the characteristics and also the objectives and industrial relations scenario in India. And the third unit, evolution of industrial relations. It means True Resolutions Act of 1962 and industrial policies, as we know about this, and factors influencing on industrial relations and parties like this, and also the causes for poor industrial relations. And the fourth unit, we can study about the industrial disputes. As we know about this, the industrial disputes and history of industrial disputes and causes of industrial disputes and also the consequences of industrial disputes and the methods, which methods can be adopted for the reducing of industrial disputes. We can study it in the first block, and also the second block, forms of industrial disputes, measured controlled industrial disputes, forms of industrial disputes, strikes and lockouts, and grievance handling and discipline. Related to this, we can study about the meaning and definitions and grievance handling, causes for the employee grievances, consequences of effects of grievances, presentation of grievances, and role of human resources in the grievance handling, and models of grievance procedure, and grievance redressal mechanism. And another thing is industrial discipline is also one of the important thing in the industries. Related to this, objectives and also the causes for industrial discipline and the discipline implementation. And seventh unit, that is settlement of industrial disputes. How we can settle it means it's having its own methods, the methods of a settlement of a voluntary and also as the compulsory conciliation and also the arbitration. And it's having its own procedures for the arbitration and National Arbitration Promotion Board. Evaluation of a working of a voluntary arbitration, compulsory arbitration adjudications, model principle for reference of disputes to adjudications. And next unit is technological change and industrial relations. As we know about this, from 1 year to another year, or 6 months to another 6 months, the technology will change in the industries. Also, that can studied the technological change and attitudes to new technology, impact of technology, globalization approach, and rationalization of automation and automation. In the third block, we can study about this, the trade unionism. Related to this, we can study about the meaning, definitions, and all the characteristics and functions of a trade union, purpose of workers joining the trade union, and the trade union movement in India, profile of major trade union organizations, theories of a trade union, structure of a trade union, and related to this, having a separate act, that is Trade Union Act of 1926. Related to this, the management of trade unions, objectives of trade unions, provisions of the act, and also what are the problems faced by the trade unions, and what are the suggestions to improve the trade unions that should be studied in the Trade Unions Act of 1926, and collective bargaining. as we know about the collective bargaining is also one of the major instrument in the between the employer and as well as the employee. Related to this, functions, approaches, structure, and characteristics, elements, theories, and strategies, process, and preparation of a collective bargaining, collective agreements, conditions of success of collective bargaining, emerging issues in this chapter. Lastly, we can study about the where employee participation in a management. Related to this, elements, objectives, levels, forms, and prerequisite of employee participation in a management, participative arrangement. These are all your syllabus. In this syllabus, first chapter related to philosophy of industrial relations. Let's we go through by one slides. That is, first we should know about the meaning of industry. What's the meaning of industry? Industry is a group of productive enterprise or organizations that produce or supply of goods and services or sources of income. Industries are backbone of the Indian economy, as we are aware of this. Without an industry, we can't able to maintain the stable economy in our country or in the entire world. It's a group of productive enterprises, and the without the income, it's also one of the what sources of income. Without income, we can't get any economy or money or financial matters. And one more thing is meaning of relations. We should know about this. Come to our point of our family. We should maintaining the relations, good relations. That is also required in the place of industries. It means the way in which two or more people or things can are connected. A thing's effect on a reliance to another. Without a relevance, we can't maintaining of a what can't connected with the one people to another people like this. That is the relations. And about the industries, as we know about this, that is it's an art of living together for the purpose of a production and productive efficiency. Industrial relations is constituted one of the most delicate and also the complex problems of the modern industrial society. It means it's one of the delicate instrument in the industries, and also complex problems can be reduced through the industrial relations, which is characterized by the rapid change, industrial unrest, and conflicting ideologies, and also national and international space. Just I told you, it is an art of living together. It means it's an what skill. Without a skill, we can't able to what maintaining of a good relationship or living in the society. That is most important. And another thing is productive purpose of the production. It means without the production, there is no matter of an industry that should be need a production. It means they have to purchasing of a raw material, they have to appointing employees, and also they were maintaining of a good relationship between the employee and as well as the employers, and human well-being in industrial progress. That is also most important. It comprises of a network of institutions. Without a network, we can't able to maintaining of a good relations, such as trade union. As we know about this, from the employee groups, they can frame a separate union, that is trade union, and also the collective bargaining. It is also one of the major instrument between the employer and as well as the employees. In each and every movement, the collective bargaining is playing a major role. And also the employers. Without the employers, there is no matter of industries. The law, it means set of rules and regulations should be required in industries. And the state, if whatever we require maintaining of good relations or maintaining of industries or a started of an industry, we should need a law. And which are bound together set a common values, which means common goals and as well as the aspirations. That is most important. It means achieve something, and knowledge of such institution is important if we are to understand everyday's industrial relations phenomena. It's a fact. it means knowledge of such institution is most important. Without the knowledge, we can't able to maintain industrial relations. It's a fact. And what is industrial relations, or the concept of industrial relations? There is no unanimity of the meaning and scope of industrial relations. The different terms is taken a place. It means that is the labor and the management. Such different terms is such as labor management relationship. As we know about this labor, employee, employer, and workman, these are all maintaining of a good relations in the industrial relations. Employee relations and also the union. Management relations is also most important between in the management level and as well as the labor. Between them, they have to maintaining a good relationship. Personal relations, it is also a most important. Where when the personal relationship is good in the working place, it's also good in the working place between the two peoples. And human relationship, that is also a most important thing. It's a playing a crucial role in the industries, are used into use and use for synonymously. And it is in it strictness, since the term industrial relations means relationship between the management and the workman in a unit or an industry. In an industry, they are having a different own units. You can go through your industries. And from the industrial relations related to this, some of the experts, they were given their own meanings. That is, according to Dale Eder, defines that it as a whole field if relationship that exists because of the necessary collaboration of men and women. Without a collaboration of men and women in the employment process of an industry, there is no matter of a industry or in the good relationship in the industries. And trade and metallic affair observes that industrial relations are the composite result of the attitudes and approaches of the employers. Whether the industry is employing 10 or more people, each and every individuals, they are having their own attitudes and also the approaches of the employer. In these circumstances, the employees towards each and others with regard to planning, what they want to plan in the industries means from the day-to-day activities, they need a blueprint. It means the plan. Without a plan, they can't able to run industries. And supervision is also most important. In each and every moment, they have to supervise the employees. And directions, what is the direction? It means a right direction should be a right place at the right workers. That is also a most important. And coordination, it means, as we know about this, the coordination is also one of the most important thing in this society and as well as the industries. Without the coordination, there is no matter of achieving an organizational goal of the activities of organization with a minimum of human efforts. Whatever they have to putting an effort, that can be whether if they are putting a minimum effort, that is most important. Frictions with an animating spirit of cooperation and with a proper regard for the genuine well-being of all the members of the organization. That should be that the expert is given meaningful information. And according to H.A. Clegg defines that industrial relations in the broadest term, it is not a smaller term, it is a broadest term as encompassing the rules governing employment. Relating to employment, they were preparing a rules and regulations together with the way in which rules made and changed the interpretation and also the administration. From the above definitions, we are clear that the industrial relations process are involved. Individual employees who contribute services under the employment contract in expectation of remuneration. as what we are using, what we are working in an organizations, that should be need a remuneration. Without a remuneration, we can't be able to work. Individual employers who pay remuneration to the employees under the contract in return for services. Individual employer, whatever they are paying a remuneration for the employees, that should be contract in a return for their services. Without a remuneration, they can't be able to work in an organization or an industry. Then the separate association of individuals employees, for example, I told you the trade unions, that is also most important, which seeks to influence the terms and conditions between the employer and as well as the employee related to employment under which their members will be employed. And separate association of individual employers which seeks to influence the terms and conditions of employment. It means not only the employees, also the employers is also having a separate association, which members will be required to offer in the future. The central organization of the workers and the employers, which seeks to create the appropriate climate, I mean, in good conditions, and those among the affiliated units and coordinate their activities. In these ways, the industrial relations means maintaining of a good relations between workers and employers and employees, employers and workmen, employers and workmen, and laborers, and between the employees and employees, they have to maintaining a good relationship. Employees and workmen, and employees and laborers. And these are all treated as industrial relations. Then it's having its own scope. That is, apart from the primary objective of the industries, that is, whatever they want to achieve the organizational goal, means earning the profit. Beyond that, the bringing about the sound and healthy relationship, that is most important. Without a maintaining of a good relationship, how they can earn the money and how they can achieve the goal, that is most important between the employers and employees. The industrial relations aim is that is to facilitate the production and the productivity. That is most important. Whatever the requirement of production and also the productivity purpose, they should be, and to safeguard the rights and interest of both labor and management. Whatever they are having a rights, it means the powers that should be provided in the favor of the laborers and as well as the management by enlisting their cooperations. They have to know about the rights and obligations in the premises of the industries. When they know about the rights and obligations, they can work with the cooperations to achieve a sound, harmonious, and mutually beneficial labor management relationship. As I said, the sound, it means the good relationship. For when they are maintaining a good relationship, they can achieve the organizational goal. Mutually beneficial. There is no matter of in favoring of employee and as well as the employers. Both are getting a benefits, the labor and as well as the management relationship. Then to avoid unhealthy atmosphere in the industry, that is also one of the scope. It means whatever the disputes that can be avoided. Then especially work stoppages. As we know about this, in some circumstances, whether the default done by the employer or an employee, so the work can be stoppages that cannot be taken place. Go slow. It means when some coordination is not going on between the employers and as well as the management or employers, in the circumstances the slow, it means the work will go slowly. And giraus, that is also most important. And strikes, without the reason of strikes, that is also one of the obstacle for the industries, and also the lockouts. To establish and maintaining of an industrial democracy, that is also one of the major thing in an industries. And another thing is here in the improvement of economic conditions of workers in an existing state and of industrial management and political government. and control exercised by the state over industrial undertakings with a view of regulate production and promoting harmonious industrial relations. That is also one of the category. And socialization and rationalization of industries by making a state itself a major employer and vesting a priority proprietary interest of the workers in the industries in which they are employed. That is also most important thing. We should providing as an employer, they should providing a priority for the interest of the workers. Then only they can achieve the goal. In these ways, the organization means the industries can run smoothly. And these are all the scope of the industrial relations and the objectives and coverages of industrial relations. What are the objectives of industrial relations? We should know about this. It means the industrial relations covers a wide range of aspects, such as the following. That is the structure of the economy and the labor market. That is most important. Structure, as we know about this, whether they take an example for the men, the structure are well organized. It means the men structured with the head, nose, move, and hands and legs like this. The structure of the body of a man like this in a industry is also having a when the well structure of the economy of the labor market. It means related to finance. And another objective is constitutional provisions related to legal frameworks and the labor standards. Whatever they are framing the rules and regulations related to the labors, that should be constitutional under the constitutional provisions and also the legal framework. Then the structure of the trade unions and employers organizations and their linkages, attitudes and approaches. This is also one of the objectives. Well structure of the trade unions and employers organizations is well structured and their linkages and as well as the attitudes and approaches they can achieve the what they are having objectives and the nature and the degree of a government intervention, that is also one of the objectives of the industrial relations. Policies on the industrial relations at international level. It means, as we know about this, we should think about this. Whether they take an example for the central government, whether current issue like current what they want to linking the PAN card with the Aadhaar card, isn't it? Like this, it means that should be operated in the central level, that should be reached to nook and corner of a country. Like this, here also, the industrial relations policies is an international level, national level, and also the industries and firm and the working place levels. That is also implemented. That is also one of the objectives. Then labor market policies. The labor market policies is also playing a crucial role in the industrial relations and market institutions and labor law administration and dispute resolution mechanisms. As we know about this, the market policies that should be done by the labor legislation in the labor administration in the central level, and whatever the disputes are arised between the employer and as well as the employee, employee and employee, employee and workman, employee and labor, and employer and workman labor, like this, that can be resolved through the usage of different mechanisms for the settlement of disputes. That is also one of the objectives of the industrial relations. Then collective bargaining and workers' participation. That is also a most important thing. Collective bargaining and between from the employers and between the employers and as well as the employees. The collective bargaining is also playing a mutual playing a what a major role. And workers' participation in a management or wherever the companies or industries they were taken a decision in that circumstances, each and every employees or group of the employees or head of the employee groups, they can participate in the management level. Then the industrial relations, it's having its own strategies. The strategies are like this, that is internal factors and as well as the external factors. Two sets of the factors, internal as well as the external, influence the industrial relations strategies. The internal factors are: number one, the attitudes of the management and to employees and unions. Management and management to employees and unions, that is also most important. Just I told you, the attitude is the most important for the each and every individuals of management to employees and as well as the unions. Unions is formed from the employee groups. That is also a most important thing. Unions informed from the two or more employees, that can be framed. And the attitudes of the employees to the management, that is also most important. The strategies for the required, the attitudes of the employees and as well as the management, and attitudes of the employees to the unions, how they are maintaining of attitudes with the unions, that is also most important. That is also one of the strategy for the maintaining of industrial relations. The inevitability of the evitability of the differences of opinion between the management and unions. In that circumstances, they have to use different strategies. The extent to which the management can or wants to exercise absolute authority to enforce the decision affect the interest of the employees. Whatever they want to enforcing of rules and regulations, that is the most important thing. In that circumstances, they have to need to maintaining of a good strategies. And another thing is the present and likely future strength of the unions. That is also a most important. Whatever the current situations of the unions and what is the strength of the unions, that should be known. If there is a one dominating union or the existence of a multi-unions leading to inter-union rivalry, in that circumstances they have to maintaining of a strategy, they have to use the strategies. The effectiveness of managers and supervisors in dealing with the industrial relations problems and disputes. uh, what they are using different strategies, that should be need a effectiveness. Without effect, there is no matter of any maintaining of a good relationship. It means supervision in the dealings and also the problems solving and also maintaining of disputes. These are all the external factors, and these are all the internal factors. And the external factors affecting industrial relations strategies are: number one, the militancy of the union's nationality or a locality. It means engaged in a strike or actions and other forms of industrial actions in that circumstances. The effectiveness of unions and its officials and the extent to which the officials can do the control activities of the supervisors within the company, that is also a most important. Without the effectiveness, there is no matter of any authority or rules and regulations. The authority and effectiveness of the employers association, whatever they are having a what authority means power, that should be effective. That is also one of the strategy. The extent to which bargaining is carried out, it means at the time of what paying a salary, whatever the benefits given to the employees by the employers, hours of work, and whatever the leaves can be given, and safety policies, health policies, and also wealth policies. In that circumstances, they need to take an what bargaining is carried out at the not only the national or local or plant level also. It means it carried out at the national level, international level, or state level, or in the taluk level or the plant level. It means the industries like this. And the employment and pay situation nationally and locally, and the legal framework within the which industrial relations exist, whatever they are having it exist. And then next we can go for the what values of industrial relations. It means here the industrial relations is not an objective science. It is concerned with the subjective value judgment about the concept for which there are no universally accepted criteria. Universally, they are not accepted. Different individuals, it means each and every individuals, they were given their own concepts about judgments about the concept which are they are no universally accepted. Individuals and groups have different perceptions of what is good or bad. As we know about this, whether they take an example for the linking of Aadhaar card with the PAN card, we are having a different perceptions like this. Whether good or bad, we are commenting in here also in the relation industrial relations also. And what is right or wrong? We should know what is the right and as well as the wrong. That should be studied under the values of industrial relations. Number one, fairness and equity. Fairness and equities are synonymously in industrial relations. We can simultaneously or synonymously used. Although the concept of fairness and equity, uh, that is explicitly most frequently associated with the considerations. Consideration means, as we know about this, what we are doing a work for that, we need to take some consideration in the mean of return as a salary of the differentials and termination of the contract of employment. That is also most important. And equity can be viewed from three different perspectives. The three different perspective is individual equity is the perception of an individual employee about the fairness of an employer in compensating him compensate through with the skills and the contribution. Internal equity is the perception of the employee about the fairness of the employer in the compensating him related to other employees who are similarly placed in terms of the knowledge, experience, skill, and performance. Like this. The second one, power and authority. What's the meaning of power and as well as authority? Don't think what would industrial relations or authority occupy a central position of industrial relations. That is most important. What in the central, whatever they are having a occupying of a powers and as well as the authority, that indicates that the employment of relations inherently power and authority relationship. There is no explicit the inherently the expressions of powers and authority use interchangeably or different. Power is a wider concept, can be defined ability to influence others, ability to whatever they're having a capacity to influence to others. Whereas authority means a formal power assessed to delegate to a position by the virtue of office he holds in the organizational settings. That is a authority. Like this, power and authority is also a values of industrial relations. Individual and collectivism, that is also most important. In a industries, the individual contribution and as well as the collectivism is also most important. A frequently expressed value in the modern industrial society is the importance of the individual and human dignity in the employment sphere. This is reflected in the belief that employees are not to be treated impersonally, rather they should be seen in individual human beings, each with his her own aspirations, attitudes, and beliefs, and employees can make a unique, significant contribution to the successful operations of the organizations. In this way, so the individual is also important and the collective vision is also important for the what getting a organizational goal. This is also most invaluable things in industrial relations. Rights and responsibilities. Rights is also most important thing, and also the responsibility is also most important thing. A right is generally defined as just a legal claim or a title. that which is due to anyone by law or a tradition or a nature. According to law, the right is having each and every people, those who are working in industry, they are having their own rights. Is something that is a person is legally entitled to the from the certain other persons. It means that they from the employers, the world of the at large, and the fundamental rights is issue. Industrial relations is the managerial prerogative, or a right to manage. Responsibility. What's the meaning of responsibility? Each and every individuals they are having their own responsibility. It means each and every day the employer is assigning the works. The work should be completed by the employees. That is the responsibility of the employees. It means the duty or obligation or a burden of the employee having a control over the something. Right is a correlative of the duties, as a right is a strict sense as a corresponding duty. Like these rights and duties is or responsibilities also values of industrial relations. Integrity, trust, and transparency. This is also most important. Integrity, it means individual acting in accordance with his her personal values and as well as the beliefs, rather than the terms of individual acting according to universally accepted by the code of conduct. They were acting their own beliefs and attitudes. The essentially quality of integrity, that individual words, actions should be seen by others concerned and express a consistent set of values. A problem may be often arise individual employee where his personal beliefs and values come into direct conflict with the organization demands placed on him. Trust. Trust. What's the meaning of trust? Trust may be established amongst the people themselves or people engaged within an organization. Interpersonal trust exists where individuals have a confidence in and able to rely upon another, not seek activity passively to harm each other. Transparency, as we know about this, as we are aware of this already, transparency means when we are standing in front of the mirror, there is no hide and seek. What we have shown in front of the mirror, that can be shown in the mirror itself. Like this, the transparency is promoted through sharing information, opens in communication, and willingness to explain the reasons out the motives behind decisions and as well as the actions. This is a transparency without what hide and seek of any information related to industries. Then come to the point of system approaches. System approaches, it means the problem is posed in the field of industrial relations cannot be solved within the limits of a single discipline. It means we need a more authorized people in the different levels for the settling of disputes between the peoples. Hence, it is bound to be interdisciplinary approach. It can be interdisciplinary field. It includes in play sociology, psychology, law, and also the history, politics, and another thing is economics, accounting, and other elements management studies that is required. What approaches? Then related to this. Here, the approaches regarding the approaches and industrial relations system may be defined as a compromising the totality of the power interactions of the participation in the workplace. When these interactions involve industrial relations issues, that is a non-separable part of the organized structure in its dynamics. The industrial relationships can be viewed having a three components as a set of individuals and these institutions in the interact, a context within which the interactions takes place, an output that serves to govern the future relationship of the parties. The components of the industrial relation systems are: number one, the participations. Without the participants of the industrial relations, pairs of the compound of the duly recognized representatives of the parties interacting in several roles within the systems. Then issues, the power interactions of the participants in the workplace create industrial issues, relations issues. These issues and the consequences of the power interactions find their expressions in the web of rules governing the behavior of the parties at a workplace. Then structure is also a most important. Just I told you, structure of industrial relations we were discussing. The structure consists of all the forms of institutionalized behavior in a system. The structure may be including the collective procedure and grievance settlement practices. Legal enactments relevant to the power interactions may also be considered to be part of the structure. Then boundaries. In system analysis, it is possible to find an issue which one participate in a totally indifferent to resolving while at the same time. The other participation is highly concerned about a resolution of the same. These issues may serve to delimit system boundaries. At least three are marked features of the approaches. And another thing is interdisciplinary character. Some theories regarded to system approach to be universally accepted all the human relations. It means that should be interdisciplinary character. Suitability to work organization and their subsystems. Subsystem is also a requirement of the what approaches of the industrial relations. Dynamic aspects. A system approach is oriented towards the study of interactions and changing relations. Based on this, some of the approaches, functional approaches given by the industrial relations, that approaches are likely the functional of approaches of the industrial relations that are all. The various functional approaches to industrial relations are: number one, Dunlop approach. Dunlop approach was designed to broaden in the industrial relations horizon from the collective bargaining to the full spectrum of the present day industrial relations. It is a most basic term. Dunlop system theory is industrial relations is about the structure and the development of relationships among the three integral members of the relations, that is labor, management, and as well as the government. Whatever the government is framing the rules and regulations, and also the that should be followed by the management, that should be implemented in the industries that is affected to the labors, and about the resolving of the labor management problems based on agreements. Whatever they made an agreement between the employer and as well as the employee, labor and the management, that should be common set of the facts that the affect are affected by the labor management and as well as the government. Here, the Dunlop approaches is according to relations systems is at any one point of the time in its development comprises of a certain actors. Them together, a body of rules and regulations created to govern the actors' workplace. The actors are: number one, the hierarchy of a management and their representative in the supervision. It means a chain link of the managers. It means middle level, lower, the top level managers, whatever they are having a hierarchies based on the supervision and hierarchy of the workers and any spokesman related to industries and specialized government agencies concerned with the workers, enterprises, and their relationship. This is the Dunlop approach given by the Dunlop, and also this is having its own approaches. Go through your study material. In that study material, you can get the figure. Industry relationship systems and as well as the contextual factors, that is ideology and as well as the actors and rules, technical factors, market factors, and related to contextual factors, that is locus and distribution of power in wider society. This is the concept of approaches of the Dunlop. Then Oxford approach, that is also one of the most important thing. The approaches has had a great deal on influence of industrial relations. Whatever the maintaining of a good relationship, that should be influenced by the Oxford approach also. Thinking in the UK, United Kingdom, and has even been a theoretical base of inquiry and the recommendation of the Donovan Commission in the year of 1965 to 68. According to it, industrial relations system is a study of institutional of job regulations, and the stress is on a substantive and procedural rules of a Dunlop model. As we know about this, it means stress is also one of the most important thing in an organization or industries that can be what stressed by the Oxford approach. In the Oxford approaches, it's having its own formula, that is R is equal to F into B or R is equal to F into C. Here, R means the rules governing industrial relations. B means collective bargaining. C means conflict resolving through collective bargaining. In this ways, the approaches of what Oxford approaches is given its own formula. R is equal to F into B or R is equal to F into C. R means